Can't hear you. Manufacturing industry.
Not better?
No.
No better?
Get right up close to it.
Okay.
There we go, close.
All right, introducing EcoSeal, the president of EcoSeal, Mr. Kote. And I think it'll be self-explanatory. This is like that magic elixir we've all heard about, the better mousetrap in the way of coating and protection. And with that,
Hi, Randy.
there.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Just fine, thank you.
Okay. My name is Edwin Thies, and Dr. Patel and I have developed and manufactured this product over a number of years. Dr. Patel manufactures over 900 chemical products and biological products. And in answer to corrosion protection, the problem, as you all know, corrosion of metals, degradation of composites, fiberglass, plastics, or glass, is particularly ubiquitous marine environments and pervasive. And the big number from the National Association of Corrosion Engineers that it estimates $50 to $80 billion annually lost to corrosion. It impairs performance and shortens asset life. The existing solutions are expensive, environmentally hazardous to personnel. They require complex and varying maintenance protocols and provide inadequate protection. Our answer is using nanochemistry in cleaning, sealing, and finishing products. Nanotechnology reduces molecules to a billionth of a meter. If you were to take a pencil that you have in front of you, if you're taking notes, and put a dot on a paper, that's 1 million nanometers. The picture that you see on the right of the screen is aluminum magnified to 10 nanometers with a scanning electron microscope. So you can see that every surface, even glass, is porous. The reduced size, the particulate at the nano level allows for penetration, integration, and adhesion not possible before. And the variety of used nanoparticulate add unique benefits. Some of those benefits are complete surface integration and adhesion. Smoother surface mitigates friction and static. They densify surface without hardening it. And that eliminates the hold for soil, pollutants, and microbes. And through clear surfaces, because it smooths them and mitigates the prism effect, it gives a high def effect. It enhances UV protection. It uses the same metal oxides as sunscreen. And nanometal oxides work in light to degrade VOCs and microbial contamination. So they make the surfaces, quote, self-cleaning, meaning that vertical surfaces are smooth enough so that it's difficult for things to stick. So any rain or motion in the water would remove the soil or fouling. And it makes the surface more sanitary because pollutants can't get a foothold to grow. With cleaning solutions, nanosynthetics, and surface prep, cleaning solutions replace traditional chemistry for a safer function. And they minimize or eliminate caustics and acids in cleaners, give you equal or better cleaning without eco-hazards. It makes it possible to remove rust stains and not endanger marine life, clean heat exchangers and cooling systems without tear down, strip waxes without heavy ammonia or high VOC chemicals, leave surfaces better prepared to receive finishes, and safer for personnel. Here's an example of a heat exchanger cleaning process. This is the interior, the picture on the left of a fouled cooling channel in a heating system. And you can see how much it reduces efficiency with just a little bit of fouling. The pictures on the right are a heat exchanger filter from a plastic molding operation cleaned with EcoSeal Calcicure in 1 minute. And the testimonial from these folks are a major auto parts manufacturer. Said after they were done with that, they threw some rust particles into the solution, and within a couple of minutes, it consumed the rust. So heat exchangers can be cleaned and sealed without disassembly by recirculating EcoSeal Calcicure until clean, and then recirculating EcoSeal Fortify to inhibit corrosion and fouling. And in finishing solutions, Nano Fusion Cleaner Seals, EcoSeal Fortify and Finest, two of our primary products. Water-based, eco-friendly fusions. They're single components, so you don't have to mix two components and worry about getting them on before they harden. And Nano metal oxide sealers and protectants. They had no weight or dimension. The fusion lost nanoparticles in water. They are water-based. They don't change appearance of treated surfaces. So if you have a matte finish on a piece of furniture, it will remain that finish. It will look richer. If you have a shiny surface, it will be exceptionally shiny. Very good for finishing any polished surface, automobiles, bulkheads, anything that you want to look really good and clean. They're hydrophobic, oleophobic, and they densify without hardening, which means on fabrics, canvas, soft side windows, that sort of thing, they work beautifully. They're VOC before and after curing, and I'll talk more about that later when we get to another product. And they finish the finish, if you will, on existing painted, plated, or anodized surfaces. Those are the traditional processes we use to protect surfaces, but they all are limited. And they protect glass, polycarbonate, plexiglass, and other surfaces which can be painted, such as computer screens, transducers, sonar antenna, radar domes, and rubber or nylon or woven gaskets. Here are some examples where it's in use around the country. In Baltimore, the bus fleet interiors are treated with EcoSeal to stay cleaner longer, and it's saving them 30+% in routine maintenance. They like it well enough that they're in the middle of a 3-year contract to do each bus annually of the 800 buses in the fleet. In the sign that's up there is a sign that they put on the treated buses to let their passengers know that they're traveling in more comfort. Below that is a trial at a Missouri middle school where the product was put on a variety of surfaces, as you can see there, and after 6 months, with wiping only with water and no chemical cleaners, it still showed clean to ISSA standards with only a water medium. Here's a marine example. It saves thousands in maintenance by preventing fouling of aquatic instruments. It kept clean nearly 5 times longer on unprotected collected points. The picture on the left is without the product. The picture on the right is with the product. And their data collection didn't start to grade until more than 150 days after. So if they had to clean them every month, means they didn't have to clean them for 6 months. A great deal of expense saved. And below that, you can see again the same aluminum picture you saw before, blown up even more. And the nanoparticles are structured to fill these micro and nano faults and structural voids in any material, hard or soft. And EcoSeal is time tested over the years, has been tested by independent labs and in field trials for adhesion, insolubility, surface corrosion protection, drag reduction, food safety, and mold and mildew inhibition. Here are some more uses. On a Bombardier Lear 60, if you look close, you can see a reflection of the top of a ladder just above that gray line. And to the left of the picture, you can see the foot of that ladder to give you some idea how far it's reflecting. And in the picture below, my first partner, who has since passed away, was a retired Coast Guard commander. This was his private sea ray that he kept on mooring in a very slow-moving estuary on Cape Cod. So we masked one strip with a 2-inch piece of masking tape, treated the bottom, removed the tape, and then it was moored for 6 or 8 months in harbor on Cape Cod. And you can see that the barnacles grew pretty healthily where there was no protection. However, where our product was protecting it, there was no barnacle growth. And this was right after it was pulled for the winter and just rinsed with a hose without any pressure. Maintenance and repair solutions. EcoSeal Rust Coat is a nano rust and corrosion conversion clear sealer. It's water-based, it's nano enhanced, and it converts rust and oxidation to provide a quick fix while underway or docked. It stops rust from progressing until refinishing is scheduled. Minimal surface preparation is required. And the nano particulate flows through rust and locks into the substrate rather than a traditional coating, which would only perhaps penetrate part of the rust. It sets in 1 to 2 hours and 24 hours to a complete cure. And rust won't reoccur unless surface is abraded to bare metal. It may also be used as a primer for oil-based or epoxy paints where appearance is a concern. Here's a couple of photo examples of use on rust coat. In the audience with you there, I believe, is Juan Spagnola. He's our distributor in Baltimore. This old snow shovel was his. He gave it to me to trial it. It had been rusting for many years, and you can see the result of the coating with 1 coat and 2 coats on the right-hand side of the shovel. The other picture is a picture of a Galvey nut and bolt that they use on the gantry cranes at the Port of Jacksonville to in a number of areas, and they have a problem having to replace these often because of rust and corrosion. So we showed them that rust coat is a fine enough material that it can be put on both male and female threads, and that's still assembled without a problem, and it maintains the integrity of the system. These were overcoated with EcoSeal Fortify to complete the protection, and they're getting better service out of them. Oh, I forgot to tell you on that slide, this can also be used on vehicle undercarriages and trailers to inhibit and stop rust. So now we move on to our complete protection solution, EcoSeal Fortress Coat. It's a nano cycloaliphatic amine, NCA for short, so we can all say it, epoxy coating. An NCA particulate integrates with the surface for extreme bond, even to glass. 2 coats of it pass the performance requirements of these two mil specs for tanks, fuel tanks, and for ship paint. Has excellent corrosion, chemical, and abrasion resistance, and is low VOC. It passed these various tests. It's fast curing, and when cured, will not off-gas VOCs or leach any component into water. Here's a picture showing the fast cure, and it also demonstrates why many epoxy and other hard finishes continue to off-gas after they are supposedly cured, because they aren't completely cured throughout the coat. We put about an inch of two competitive major manufacturers' paints and our own Fortress coat in the equal containers, and they were left at room temperature for 15 hours. And you can see that we had to cut our container in half in order to get the completely cured Fortress coat out, but theirs have developed a skin across the top. Polysiloxanes are used to help impede adhesion of fouling and to reduce drag in shipping. When you overcoat Fortress coat with our EcoSeal Fortify, you accomplish the same thing at far lower cost. Getting a siloxane inside the materials is not performing as it's supposed to, as it does on the surface. So a surface coat is more than sufficient to get to that same point of protection, drag reduction. Here's a bit of a video demonstrating some of the. To demonstrate Tank Coat 160's adhesion strength, we rolled a 2 mil thick coat onto smooth, plain silica glass, sufficiently thick to avoid shattering, that had been cleaned with acetone. The tank coat was allowed to cure for 4 days. We then bonded 4 20-millimeter pull-off dollies to the glass, isolating the dollies by scribing the Tank Coat 160 with a hole saw around the circumference of the dollies. One dolly pulled off at 2,880 pounds, and the other 3 held with no failures to 3,000 pounds, the capacity of the machine. For a similar demonstration on concrete, we apply a 4 mil single coat of Tank Coat 160. It was cured for 36 hours on a well-cured concrete slab, approximately 9,000 psi, about 3 times the strength of common floor slabs. 4 2-inch diameter steel discs were bonded with epoxy and pulled to failure. In every instance, the concrete failed rather than the tank coat failing. To demonstrate adhesion to steel, a 1/8-inch thick panel of steel was sandblasted clean, received a single 5 mil coat of Tank Coat 160, and was allowed to cure for 48 hours. We then bonded 4 20-millimeter pull-off dowels to the finished steel panel. As with the glass demonstration, the bonded dollies were isolated by scribing their circumference with a hole saw. There was one failure at just at 3,000 pounds per square inch. The other 3 dollies held without failure to 3,000 psi. The average adhesion is in excess of 3,000 psi. You may have noticed we called it Tank Coat 160 in the video. We recently changed the name to Fortress Coat to reflect its broader range of use. It was designed originally for the interiors of fracking water cleaning tanks. And fracking water contains nearly all of these at various heights, chemicals that you see here. And probably most relative to what you do is the brine water. And seawater averages about 30,000, 35,000 parts per million of salt. So you can see that the salt resistance is significant in this product. This is only a partial list of the chemicals that won't influence it. Here's another video on some flexural adhesion and abrasion. To demonstrate impact resistance and flexural strength, we applied Tank Coat 160 to both sides of a 1/8-inch steel panel, suspended it above a concrete surface, and pounded it with a heavy hammer. There is slight scuffing, but no spalling or delamination on the front or back of the sample. We repeated the test, suspending the panel well above the concrete and struck it with the sharp end of the hammer. The panel bent significantly, was bent back, and yet showed no sign of delamination or spalling. Abrasion at the strike point was minimal. Now here's an example of a good-sized commercial motor sailor in the Maldives that was refinished with fortress coat after it was rehabbed. If you'd like to look at their website, this ship is called Sonesta in Aqua 1. When it was dry docked, it exposed significant barnacle fouling and damage. As you can see from the two pictures on the left, the hull was completely cleaned and restored and prepped to receive the EcoSeal Fortress coat. And here it is, ready to launch, refurbished and repainted with EcoSeal Fortress coat with a gray hull and the white superstructure. And overcoating this with EcoSeal Fortify inhibits fouling and UV degradation, even better than just the Fortress coat alone. Here are some suggested applications for EcoSeal Fortress coat. And the usage is going to be many more things than this, for aesthetics, for fabrics, for soft side windows. It helps to inhibit mold on the stitching on side curtains. I know that's a big problem. And lots of other things in and around either pleasure or commercial boating. Here are various completed projects. An oil platform in the Gulf of Mexico, some antenna towers, those are in the Philippines. Severely rusted bollard. These are, this bollard is at the Port of Jacksonville. It was the first one to be replaced and finished with Fortress coat. And from the process they were using prior to using Fortress coat, we saved them 2 steps or 4 coats in finishing, and as much as 4 days in curing, because Fortress coat is doesn't need any primer. It's self-priming. And you can see the concrete sewer plant clarification tank below. Concrete and sewer plants is very susceptible to damage by sulfur gases and other gases in sewage. And you can see on older docks that concrete there is also seriously affected by seawater and by any sort of petroleum pollutions that are spilled on it. So it's functional not just on metals, but on concrete as well. And to recap, nanotechnology cleaning and finishing. With cleaning, the nanoparticulate enhanced cleaners to make them safer, faster, and more complete. With sealing, the clear penetrant sealer EcoSeal Fortify improves nearly every surface's corrosion and inhibition, as well as appearance and serviceability, and much quicker and easier cleaning. And stopping rust, the EcoSeal Rust Coat repairs damaged surfaces, stopping rust until scheduled refinishing. And if it's somewhere where you don't care about how it looks, all you need to do is chip the heavy rust that would flake off anyway and simply paint it. If you want to have it look better, you can take the rust down as much as you want, all the way to the surface if you like, and then paint it with rust coat and use that as a primer for whatever your other surface paint is for touch-up. And it's complete protection, original finish or refinish. EcoSeal Fortress coat adheres more completely with unmatched flexural strength and abrasion resistance. And overcoating Fortress Coat with EcoSeal Fortify completes the system. That completes the PowerPoint presentation. There are 3 ways to get hold of us. I think Juan is there with you today. And I think we have time for a few questions if any of you have anything for me.
Can non-skid be added?
Hang on.
Can non-skid be added to that for like a garage floor or walkway?
I'm having some difficulty hearing you.
Can non-skid be added to it for like a walkway or a garage floor?
Yes. In fact, you saw the picture of the bollard at the Port of Jacksonville. That was just after it was installed. They're going to paint a foot around that bollard on the cement to further inhibit water penetration to the undersurface of it.
I have a question about applications in tanks and or ship surfaces. Do these surfaces, or is it suggested the surface be sandblasted before the application is, like a dement coat or something similar to that?
Yeah, with Fortress Coat, you should have a clean surface. On the interior of the tank, all you would need to do is to clean.
Okay, so you just need a clean surface in your property, correct?
Yes.
Very good. I have another question. You showed a Lear 60.
Yeah.
With that coating, how would you apply it first off, and second of all, what would be the estimated cost just the material?
The cost of the material, regardless of surface, is about 10 to 15 cents a square foot for the finest or Fortify. The paint is probably a little more expensive. I've never really calculated it by the square foot.
Any more questions? I think you've done them in, Ted.
Okay, thank you. Very informative.
Thank you.